Hey everyone, welcome to another virtual crochet meeting at the library. It's December, it's getting cold, so we thought we'd make snowflakes. And by we I mean me, because it's just me here. If you haven't made a snowflake yet, join on in. This is your chance to learn. If you have made snowflakes, awesome, crochet along with us. I went through a phase where I just made tons and tons of these. I have a giant book at home filled with dozens of cool snowflake patterns, and there are a lot available out there for free if you like this one and you want to expand. Today's project uses a lot of basic crochet techniques, and the challenge is just the real small string instead of yarn and your teeny tiny crochet hook. So we're going to use chains and single crochets, double crochets, trebles, I think, and then we're going to learn what a picot is. I don't really know how to say that. Picot, picot, picket. I don't know what it is. I call them picots. I'm going to teach them to you today if you don't already know. And they are very widely used in snowflake patterns. So I feel like a lot of the things that are present in today's pattern you'll find and be able to translate to other snowflake patterns. I tried to find something that would give you a little bit of everything so that you could go on to bigger and better things. If you're comfortable with those basic crochet techniques, then all the challenge will be is the string, the hook, and we're working in the round. So if you haven't made circles before, this might be something new in that area. Make sure you're comfortable identifying your stitches, and that's going to keep you on track. I forgot to say this is size 10 crochet thread. If you are going to buy your own, to make your own snowflakes or doilies or whatever you want to do with this kind of weight of string, this is size 10. That's a pretty standard lace work weight, and you'll see the number 10 on the strings. There's also like size 3 and size 5. Those are slightly thicker, slightly bigger strands than size 10. But if you want what's in your packet, look for size 10. The second phase of this project is the stiffener. We gave everybody a giant bottle. I'm sorry, this is the smallest I could find. A giant bottle of starch, spray starch. This is my preferred method. You can make them stiffer. You can use just straight up Elmer's glue to soak the snowflake in and allow it to dry, and it'll be incredibly stiff. I really like that this starch allows it to retain some of its flexibility. It becomes stiff enough to be an ornament and to stand on its own, but not so stiff that it feels like plastic. But that's your preference. If you're looking for more durability, then go for the glue or even some Mod Podge, or I think they have liquid stiffeners, pourable stiffeners that are very thick like glue. But I really like the ease of use of this product, so this is what I'm going to show you today. So our finished snowflake is going to look like this. I'm using a black background because I hope that makes this better. And you can see that my project is stiff, it stands on its own, but it is a bit flexible still. So I didn't lose all of my texture when I stiffened my project. So this is what you can expect. However, I can still put a little ornament hanger here and hang it as a nice snowflake on my Christmas tree, and it's gonna hold up. I've had some of these snowflakes for years and they're doing just fine. Let's start crocheting a snowflake. Grab your pattern and crochet along with me. Our first step, as is most crochet things, is our chain. So we are going to slip stitch, and I'll show you guys that again. I wrap it around 2 fingers and back around so that it crosses. If I turn my fingers over, I can see the band that got wrapped around and my working yarn that I'm going to push underneath, and then I'll grab a hold of that string, pull. Don't let go of your tail, grab the working yarn, and there you go. This knot is adjustable, so once my hook is in place, I can cinch it up to size. You want your loop to be loose enough so that it slides on your hook, but not so loose that it's like a giant hole that doesn't work. For today's project, I'm using a 2mm crochet hook. You have either whatever you borrowed from us or whatever you have at home. And I would say grab what you're comfortable with. You don't want something so big, like I would not use a K. You can see the difference here. You're gonna get way loopy lacy and it's not going to look like anything and you won't know where you are. Yeah, here's an E. and this one is probably still too big. So in order to do this project, our first step is to chain 6. We've slip knotted, and now I shall chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's just a yarn over and pull through. So you can see my cute tiny little chains here, and I'm actually going to form a ring now with a slip stitch to get us going in a circle. So now I am going to come around back to that first chain that I made. Don't twist your chain. Back to that first chain I made, and I'm going to insert my hook into that stitch, into that chain, yarn over, bring through the loop that is part of the chain, and then I'm also going to drag that loop through the loop that was on my hook. There we go. So now you should have a ring. And you can see that it's made up of 6 stitches. And now we're ready for round 1. For round 1, we're going to chain 4. So pretend like you're working with regular yarn. Get that tail out of the way. And you've got your circle. And I'm going to hold it, and I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now this is going to act as our double crochet and our chain 1. That's the pattern we're about to start, but we needed something to get us going. We didn't just want to start out with a double crochet, or it would pinch and pull here where we started. So now is the part that repeats. We're going to double crochet in the ring, chain 1, and then repeat where we see that little star. Anything we usually see between 2 asterisks in a crochet pattern generally means to repeat that direction. So here we go, double crochet in the ring. This is nice because I'm not going to actually try to find those chains that I made. I'm just going to go into that big space there, the ring that we made with our chains. So I go inside there, yarn over, pull through the ring, then yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2 more. And that is a double crochet in miniature form. So we have our double crochet, and it also says then to chain 1. So now we have a double crochet and a chain 1. And then we have our starting chain over here. See how we've created like a little petal on a flower if this was our flower center? We're going to do that 10 more times. So double crochet, yarn over, go through the ring, not the stitches, yarn over, come back through the ring, yarn over, pull through 2 stitches, yarn over, pull through 2 more stitches, and chain 1 to finish it off. Now we have 2 spots and a circle in the middle. 2 spots, circle in the middle. Let's do that again. Double crochet, go into that ring, not the stitches, yarn over, pull back through the ring, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, chain 1. Alrighty, now you have to do it 8 more times until you have a total of 12 little spaces. I'll see you in a minute. Oh, so I just did something here. If you find that you're running out of space in your ring, I like to just pinch my project where I started and then pinch here where I'm making my new crochets, and you can just slide your stitches back down your ring to give you a little bit more space. So I've got 11 little spaces right here, and my next move is going to close this all off and give us our 12th space. So I have my chain 1 hanging on my working yarn over here, and I am going to join by slip stitching in the 3rd chain of the chain 4 that I did here at the beginning. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, and I'm just going to go in, yarn over, pull through that stitch, pull through the loop on my hook as well, and that's going to give us our 12th little gap. You're going to want to make sure to count in this particular project. I know it's not the most fun to have to count your stitches, but you're going to want to make sure that you have 12 of those spaces, because symmetry is just a snowflake thing. And if you're off now, you will be off forever. So just count them. So that's round 1. You should have a cute little wheel looking thing. Moving on to round 2, we're going to chain 1 and single crochet in next chain 1 space. So here we are, not working necessarily in the stitches, but the spaces we've created from the round below. So we're going to chain 1 and we're going to single crochet in the next chain space, which is this space right here. We're going to go right into that hole right there, because here's the chain that connects these two parts, and we're going to go into the chain space. Into the chain space, yarn over, pull through the space, yarn over, pull through 2 on your hook, and we have a single crochet. Now we're going to chain 5 and single crochet in the next chain 1 space. So we're going to make like another petal on our flower. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we were just here in this chain space, so we're going to move over to this chain space. Go in there, yarn over, back through the space, yarn over through the 2 loops on your hook. And now we've secured that chain, and we have an extra little petal on the top here. Once again, that direction is written in between those asterisks, which means it's the part of this round that we're going to repeat. And we're going to repeat it 10 more times. So, chain 5. And single crochet in the next chain space. Now I have 2. Keep doing this until you get all the way around to the other side. Here I am at the end of my round, and I have put a single crochet in each of my little spaces here until I got back to the beginning. Now I'm separated. I stopped because I single crocheted in this chain space, and the next thing I have is the single crochet that I started with. So I'm going to chain 5, and we're going to slip stitch in that beginning single crochet that we made at the start of this round. And the reason we do that is because the slip stitch is almost imperceptible, so we want to be there, we want to connect these, but we don't want to add any bulk to that stitch to make it look different than the other ones we've already created. So we're going to go into the single crochet, yarn over, bring that through the stitch, and also bring it through the loop on your hook. Alright, so you should have something that looks like this. And you should have 12 loopies. If you've got 12 loopies, let's proceed to round 3. This is our final round. We just started. How can we be almost done? Snowflakes, they're as simple as that. Round 3. We are going to slip stitch to the center of the first chain 5 space. This kind of direction hung me up for so long when I was learning this kind of thing. I did not understand what these mean, and I am so excited to be able to tell you so that you don't have to wonder like I did and try this 5,000 times. Alright, so we are just going to move our starting position is what this means. Instead of starting our round right now, we're not in a good position for that. We want to be at the top of this petal in order to start our next round of snowflake pattern, but we're not. So in order to get there, we're going to use slip stitches, which are those imperceptible stitches that allow us to move around our work without really leaving a trail of bulk behind. So we're going to slip stitch to the center, which means that 3rd chain. So I'm going to slip stitch here. Sorry. Alright, then yarn over, pull through the chain, keep going and pull through the loop on your hook. So there's our slip, and we're going to do another slip, yarn over through the stitch, yarn, or no yarn over, just drag through. And then we're not quite in the middle yet, so I'm gonna slip one more time, yarn over through the stitch, bring it on down through the loop on your hook. So now we are set up. Our working yarn is coming out of the center of our petal, and you can see an almost imperceptible little addition to our work there. So now we're ready to proceed. We are going to chain one and single crochet right where we are. Chain one, and I'm not going to single crochet in the stitches. I'm going to go right underneath into that ring that we created to make our single crochet. So now is the big part of the repeat. We see our little asterisk. So all the stuff that's in between there is the stuff that's going to make each petal. We are about to create this right here. All of this happens in one step. And then here's our single crochet that we just made, and then we're going to make another petal round. We are going to put 2 double crochets in the next ring, the next chain 5 space, and this is our next chain 5 space. So 2 double crochets, yarn over, go through the ring part, not the stitch, yarn over back through the ring, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. And we have to do 2 of those, so let's do it again. Yarn over through the ring, yarn over back through the ring, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. So now we have this single crochet over here, and then we have 2 double crochets there. This is the ring from the previous round here, and the ring from the previous round here. Next, we're gonna picot. Here's the fun part of this episode. We are gonna chain 3 right where we are, and then we're gonna go back to that first chain we made and do a slip stitch. Insert your hook, yarn over, bring through the chain, and drag the loop on through the loop on your hook. And now you have this little like nubby guy, this little like knot almost. And you can see those knots that hang out on the edge of my finished one here. They're very, very popular in snowflakes. So after the picot, we're gonna treble crochet, which means we're still working in the same ring. We're going to yarn over twice before we go into the ring, yarn over back through the ring, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2 again, and yarn over through 2 one last time. That's our treble. It creates this little rise and a nice little gap here between our picot. Now we're going to chain 7, and that's going to create this little top loopy guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we're going to slip stitch in the beginning of that chain. So we're going to find, oops, come back here. We're going to find the beginning of that chain, insert our hook, yarn over through the chain, and keep dragging it on through the loop on your hook. So then you have your little loopy guy at the top. He might be floppy and curly at the moment, but we'll block him with the starch and straighten it all out later. Now we have to do all those things that we just did, but in reverse. So we're going to do a treble crochet, yarn over twice, go into that, still working in that same ring, yarn over back through the ring, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2 again. So we're going to make our picot, and we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to go back into the first chain of that set, yarn over through that chain, and keep dragging it on through the loop on your hook. Grand! Now we just need 2 double crochets in that ring, down here, 2 double crochets, and that'll see us out. Yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. We just yarn over once before we go in for these. Yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. All right, we have our nice little wing. And see how much difference the blocking makes. It opens everything up. And then we're just gonna repeat all of that over again. So, single crochet in the center of your next chain 5 space. So find that third chain, or I just kind of eyeball it, and here's my chain. This looks like the middle. So we're going to single crochet in there. And then we're ready to do that whole big process for this guy. So we're going to do 2 double crochets. And then we're going to do our picot, chain 3, back through for a slip stitch in the first chain. Now we're ready for our treble crochet, yarn over twice into the ring and through 3 sets of 2. And now we're ready for our chain 7. Slip stitch in the first chain we made. Now we're ready for another treble. 2 yarn overs before we go in. And we're going to drag new yarn through 3 sets of 2. We're going to do our picot. 1, 2, 3. Slip stitch in that beginning chain. And see us out with 2 double crochets. And last but not least, our single crochet in the top of the next loop. Alright, so we have 2 wings so far. It's looking a little more like this guy. You can kind of hopefully start to see that pattern. The single crochet, we have 2 double crochets. The picot, treble crochet, chain 7, treble, picot, 2 double crochets. And here's the single crochet in the next loopy. Alright, I'm going to finish this up and see you in a minute. Now, as you can see, I'm almost finished here. I'm ready to do my last single crochet after my petal. However, I've already got a single crochet here that I started with, so I'm just going to slip stitch into that beginning single crochet. So we go into the single crochet, yarn over through the stitch, and drag it on through the loop on your hook. Now you have a snowflake. I know it doesn't look that great yet. We gotta block them. This is like probably not a very fun part of the process, but it just needs to be done. I pulled out my loop real big, and now I'm going to cut a nice long tail, just because I always want to err on the side of caution. And then I open up the loop that was on my hook, and I grab that tail, pull it through, and then I just drag it down to cinch it shut. Now I use a tapestry needle that I'm going to thread. We did not include this in your packet, so you have to find your own needle, sorry. Use a tapestry needle, thread that, and then I just hide my tail somewhere. I'm going to come down here where we see this nice cluster. I like to look for stitches that are bunched together because it's easier to hide the tail in there. So then I'm going to sneak underneath. Come on, sneak underneath. Yep. Sneak underneath. Come out over here. And then I'm going to skip one. I always yank it a little bit to make sure it's not stiff. And I'm not going to bunch anything. And then I skip one and come just back the same way. Don't pull too tightly, stretch it out. and then I snip it off for good. Now be very careful, because I have cut my project before snipping my tails. That is like the most annoying thing ever. So don't do that. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the tail that I started with. Thread my tapestry needle. And this is nice because we started with a nice dense cluster of stitches. So I'm just going to work my way. I think I'll go this way. It looks like my yarn is already moving that way. Pick a couple here to slide underneath. Slide. How about we slide? This felt easier going in. Nope, you're going to go through there. There we go. Stretch them out a little. Send them. I skipped one of those stitches that I went under. And I just go back through the rest of them. Oops. Stretch it out. Make sure it's not bunched up or pulled too taut. Trim your ends without chopping up your project. And we are ready for blocking. That's why I gave you a piece of cardboard. We have lots of cardboard around here. We use it for a bajillion things. So we're going to turn this into this. And to do that, I gave you a piece of cardboard, a bottle of starch, and a little baggie, Ziploc baggie, and an even smaller baggie full of pins. I'm going to double purpose this bag for my starch bag because I forgot to grab one. So, lay your cardboard down. I used this one already. You can get a couple uses out of a piece of cardboard. They do sell foam. They look like, you know those puzzle piece foam tiles you put like in your garage? Well, they sell those, but for this exact purpose. And you can get like a little foam square that is reusable that you can put your pins in it and it holds it nice. The pins go in a little easier than they go into this cardboard. And it's like a little bit more self-healing, so reusing it doesn't, create as permanent of holes as like this does. Anyway, you can go buy yourself one of those, or you can just use some cardboard. They both work. Alright, I am going to dump out my pins. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I need this bag. Take your baggie at home, open it up. Your baggie's a normal Ziploc baggie, not like mine. And you're going to drop your freshly made snowflake into your bag. And then you're going to grab your starch and you're going to give it a good shake. Because apparently it says to shake it like it's spray paint. We're going to shake the starch. Now, I am going to spray my starch directly into this bag. It's like low mess, no fuss. Throw the bag away when you're done. It's great. So, I'm going to spray just a bunch of starch in there. Then I can use my fingers to smash him around and make sure he gets fully saturated. He is not fully saturated yet. We're going to shower him with some more starch. He's fizzling. Squish, squish, squish. Squish the starch in the bag. I like to press and release so that it creates like a spongy effect so that all of that cotton crochet thread is soaking up all of that moisture. And you can be, if you've tied your ends nice, you can be kind of aggressive and just really smash them in there. You just want to make sure that every last bit of cotton yarn is saturated. Here's where you're going to get a little messy. We're going to reach in. I'm going to slide him up to the top here. Grab, and then I'm going to wring out in my bag the excess, and you should pull out a fairly damp, wrinkled, sad looking snowflake. So we'll kind of get him back to where he belongs, and then we're going to lay him on our cardboard. Now here's where you get to turn him into a symmetric wonder piece. We are going to take a pin. Now I realize these are really small pins and I apologize. It's what we had, but I will use them again. And I like to start in the middle and work my way out so that I make sure everything is symmetrical. So I'm going to put 3 pins here in my hands are wet from the starch. I'm going to put 3 pins in the center. There's one. And I don't put my pins into my work. I put them in the holes in between my work. And then when I put this guy in, I'm gonna put him in, and then I'm gonna stretch him a little bit. You can kind of manipulate him, open him up in there, and shove him in there. And then I'm going to do the same thing to get a third one over there. So now I have 3 pins in there, keeping my, whoops, I had 3 pins in there. Now I'm going to start to stretch my work outwards evenly in all the directions. I'm going to go into one of our little chain loops, and I'm just going to stretch and press, grab another pin, and go into the next little guy, stretch out and press, grab another little pin. You can use any kind of sewing pins. They recommend to use like stainless steel so that the liquid you're using doesn't rust your pins and then color your work. Also, I don't know if I'm doing this right. This is just how I do it. I don't remember where I got this information. It's just how I've been doing this for a very long time. If you crochet anything that is like wrinkly or whatever the case is, and you want to flatten it out, you can block with just water. Get a really big piece of cardboard if your project is bigger, any kind of crochet project, not just with this thread. And you can lay out your project, stretch it out. That's how I do doilies. I lay the doily out and I spray it real good with water, get it saturated. And then I just stretch it out and pin it. And because I don't want it to be stiff when it's done, but I want it to look all nice and flat and symmetrical. These we want to be stiff. Back to the snowflake. Alright, so next little hole, I'm going to put my pin in, stretch and press. And we're just going to work around, stretching. Okay, now I have a really weird looking acupuncture snowflake situation here. So this is what mine looks like so far. Some of my pins aren't super straight, but as long as the things are all opened like they're supposed to be, you can just kind of ignore that. Now for this part, I'm going to kind of jump ahead, and I like to find the openings of my big petals like that. I just spread them open until I found the opening. And I'm actually going to put a pin, in here and stretch him out and get him to where he's straight, and then push him into place. Then I'm going to use 2 more pins to further open that opening out this way and out this way. And you can do whatever you want. If you don't want your petal to have the opening like the diamond shape like this, you can leave it in like the little oval shape that it was in. This is the part where you can kind of put your own spin on it. And when your project has all been pinned up, it looks like a crazy little pin cushion there, you can just set him aside and wait. I usually give him a day, but I don't think a little snowflake like this is going to take a whole day. But wait till he's dry, remove all your pins, and you'll have a firm little snowflake that you can hang and keep forever. They make really lovely gifts. I gave a whole bunch of these away one Christmas. And I highly recommend that you try a bunch of other patterns. There's our snowflake, and I hope you had fun making it. And I hope you'll stick around because we are gonna be cooking up new stuff to do next year. So have a lovely holiday, and we'll see you again soon. Bye!